Hello YouTube. Today's video will be on me trying to undercut the trigger guard and front strap on this 1911 Build 4 frame. What I'm starting with is just trying to understand the geometry of the cuts that I need to make. So I've put a small file through the trigger opening in the frame, and I simply am pressing down on this file and forcing it to go into the trigger raceway. It's basically very parallel to the deck. I can measure the depth that I have from the deck of the frame to the trigger raceway. So now that I know the depth, I've added about 40 to 50 thousandths to my caliper setting, and then marked, you can see the faint line, marked the depth, the absolute depth I cannot file past. That's all good. So I've actually added a little bit of layout dye and retraced my lines, because on the other side where I have no light, it was very difficult to see the line. The other thing I'm going to do is using the flat side of a file, I'll lay it against checkering here, and without letting it get away from checkering, I'll just mark my stop spot here so I can see what not to go past to not get into the front strap. 1/4 inch round file is what I'll be starting with. And like I said, I'll probably start at the same spot, basically just to follow that contour into my undercut. So somewhere around here is when I'll start. And I hope you can also see the little line, the little mark here that I made. That's so I don't go too far when filing the front strap side of things. Again, I'm checking to make sure that I don't cut into the front strap too much. No. Also, I should mention that as I'm filing, I'm making sure that I don't cut in too much to the front strap. More so, I'm pulling away from it as I'm filing. So, trying to maintain that as much as possible. Now I'm going to get my flat file and file down the center in between the two openings. And I'm going to try to go in the middle and not tilt the file. And the undercut of the trigger guard is complete. But now we're going to work on the front strap and just flatten it out and make it perfectly parallel to the checkering. Even though it's going to be deeper than the checkering because of the deep cuts above, I just want it to be parallel to the checkering, and we'll leave it at that. So, starting with my flat file, I'm going to be filing, keeping my file as level as possible. So, laying my ruler and aligning it with the checkering cut, I'm just gonna mark off a little line on this side, and I'll do the same on this side. Just gonna bring it up just like that. So now that these lines are marked, I'm gonna use my calipers again for the same width as when I was marking the trigger guard undercut, and just mark small lines here to show me the direction. So I think it'll be easier if I actually start with my flat file around the front strap, then proceed to rounding or to a round file and finishing that cut. So I'm trying to create a series of flats, kind of following the radius. That way I can track my progress. That's what I meant by a series of flats first, then I'm going to radius it. Alright, now let's see if we can get close to that line again. Now I'm going to round. As I'm rounding, I'm tilting the file to the back. So forward push, tilt to the back. I'm in the shot again, sorry. Alright, so now I'm working on the corners, basically. So I'm just trying to not go into the flat that I just filed. And I'm not as concerned about going up, because I am still going to round the up portion, the under the trigger guard portion. So what I may need to do is reposition a little bit. So now I'm going for the radius, and still checking very frequently to make sure I don't cut into my flat or below it. I'm going to try to blend these in with the rest of the frame. And I think it's going to feel better in the hand. Okay. So now sandpaper. 220 wrapped around the same file. So here's what this trigger guard looks like now. It's got this undercut. So came out pretty decent, I think. Lays very nicely in the hand, so it feels like it allows more upward and upward position of the hand, and also it allows you to close the middle finger a little bit more around the front strap, whereas before it would have been pushed out a little bit. Now it's a little closer, so feels good. I think it's gonna end up a pretty good fit.